Good morning everyone, and yes, you knew this was coming, the Florian Seneschal and Max Walscheid incident. So why do I even waste my time referring to this incident? Well, it touches quite a few key elements which I take very seriously. Ethics, dignity, professionalism, and your obligation towards your sponsor and the image of your sponsor. Let's first get an understanding of what actually happened here. So as they started getting ready for the lead out, there was a little bit of rain as you'll see in the video, and Florian Seneschal did his lead out for Deceuninck. And what basically happened is after the lead out, as you can see, the sprint has obviously a bit of a curve in it, and obviously the sprinters are going to sprint the shortest line. And after Seneschal did his lead out, he started drifting towards the left, and he actually also started looking towards the right, and his front wheel overlapped with Max Walscheid's front wheel, and he came down heavily. So indirectly he kind of crashed himself. So after the whole incident, it was quite clear that Deceuninck actually won the sprint, as Max Walscheid was actually having an interview which I presume was German TV or some company part of Germany. Florian Seneschal came up to the side of him and actually threw a punch towards him, only hitting him on the helmet, whereafter the fight was broken up. But it wasn't much of a fight. But regardless of that, comes up to the side of another rider while he's having an interview, which could have been on live TV and which is definitely on video, in sponsored clothing, and throws a punch from the side trying to hit someone in a professional sport. I know perhaps it might be we always speak in the heat of the moment, but the heat of the moment has passed quite some time up until this point, and taking all those things into consideration, when you're a professional athlete you have to consider all these things. And to me this was kind of like wow. And to be quite honest, I'm not going to elaborate on this exact whole incident, but to be honest, I think he's quite lucky just having gotten away with a fine from his team. And a big problem that I do have with this is that the image of your sponsor comes first, and you know that when you sign that piece of paper before the beginning of the year. Personally, in my books and in the lifestyle that I grew up as a small child and later on in a small town, punching someone from the side while they're not even expecting it is truly cowardly behavior. At least be a real man, take someone on from the front and do it with dignity while they are prepared, especially when they've done nothing wrong. And doing it while someone is busy on an interview on camera? Seriously? If this is any advice to any of the youngsters out there, cyclists or not, trust me when I say you have absolutely nothing to gain except lower your own value by beating someone up. In the circumstances I grew up in my life, I inevitably ended up in many fights. And the few things that I learned, when I won or lost, it did not change anything. But in fact, I lost someone that could have been an ally or a friend. I did not feel better about myself, only worse. I did not make more friends, only less. And people around you don't think you're a hero. In fact, they only tend to get more distance from you. And in this world that we are living in, with all the violence, the last thing we need is another Rocky. However, there was a time in my life that my grandfather taught me that you never ever throw the first punch, but you don't let someone walk over you, no matter who they are. Except my wife. She's the only person who regularly walks over me and gets away with it. But all jokes aside, there will come a time in life which you will have to defend yourself, but do so with dignity and not in a cowardly way, using your head. This incident should be taken really seriously, although there are some funny sides towards it, and I'm not that serious of a guy. So let's talk about that. It is quite funny that although he threw a punch, he only knocked him on the helmet. And I think that's really good exposure for the helmet, because it's quite clear that the German Max Walscheid did not feel a thing. But to me the funniest thing of the day is Gaviria and Deceuninck, who are not at all rattled by the incident or the dispute, and they don't let it ruin their bromance as they start hugging each other. Coming from a country where violence is on our doorstep, It's the last thing I condone, and even more so in sponsored clothing, in a sport that has already been tarnished enough. I'm Willie Smit. Hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I hope I didn't waste your time. Till next time, all the best. Cheers.